This is episode 91 of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. I am B Money, the producer. That over there is Weekend Trav. We are recording. We're good to go. Weekend Trav. This is a show about cold, hard facts in the boxing world, plus our opinion, which sometimes tends to be fact as well. And if you want to challenge us on that, go ahead down below. If you're following us on YouTube or if you're listening to us on Spotify, wherever else you might be catching this, Rumble, yada yada yada. Please do comment, like, support, continue to subscribe, hit the follow button, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified on YouTube anytime we drop new content. Weekend Trav. We have some boxing news to definitely hit right on the head from the start, from the opening gate.
I love it. I love when we talk about boxing right away.
I love
it.
Well, because this is the #1 beards, bourbon, and boxing podcast shot in Orlando, Florida, specifically Laureate Park, specifically in a boxing gym, now specifically on the second floor in the podcast studio room of said boxing gym, shot on a Sunday or Monday. Today is actually Sunday, dropping on
Wednesday morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
In the world. That's our demographic. That's the niche market, folks. We appreciate the support and constant followings. Yada, yada, yada. It's actually yada, not a yata. Anyways.
Did you just yada, yada, yada me?
I did. Yada, yada,
There's
yada.
a Seinfeld episode about this.
Anyway, so yada, 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 and here we are. We got drama, folks. We got drama, and it starts with the name Jake Paul. Are you surprised here? We're
not. That is literally his name is associated with, I think when I looked it up in the dictionary, drama, and then it has an example, and all it says is Jake Paul. So I looked it up in Webster's, and it said that.
Yeah, picture definition. And so by the time
that's not true.
By the time this episode drops on Wednesday, this will probably be all old hat, old news, right?
Yeah.
But as of yesterday, which was Saturday,
yes, sir.
Jake Paul, Hasim Rahman, canceled.
Kibosh. They put the kibosh on it.
And there's a lot of speculation as to why, but Weekend Trav, we want your expert take as to what you saw happen, maybe some inside knowledge as to what happened, and we're just going to kind of go from there. There's going to be a lot of voices of opinion here on this thing, and by the time Wednesday hits, by the time you're seeing this episode, you may have already solidified opinion. We might change your opinion. I hope that's the case. Weekend Trav, episode 91.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm tossing the ball to you. Let's talk about it. Jake Paul, Hasim Rahman, what's going on?
So here's the deal, and this is where I always like to pride myself on stuff like my prediction videos. I make them unemotionally, okay? Mainly, I look at what I see, and I make that decision based on that. I try not to get into the emotions of, like, this guy's backstory, all the other stuff. And that's made me pretty good at my predictions. I'm pretty solid. I have a good winning record. Mm-hmm. Unlike my pro boxing career, but I have a good winning record in my prediction videos, especially since we started weighing in with Travis Hartman a couple of years ago. By the way, episode 91, we're almost on 100. Let's go.
Let's go.
But, so, Jake Paul, Hasim Rahman Jr., so much drama surrounding this. For me, though, I break it down so simple, and this is where I know that a lot of promoters across the world know when they dealt with me, is when I gave them my word, I signed that contract. Mm-hmm. I fulfilled my contract 46 professional boxing matches. I never not fulfilled the contract. I made my appropriate weight. I always came in like I said I would, and that's just what you're supposed to do. Contracts or not, you give your word to somebody, that should be your bond, okay?
Give a little backstory as to what we're talking about for those that might not be as familiar with the contract situation when we first started talking about this fight going down this coming Saturday, which no longer it is. So give us the foundation of it first, and then explain to the folks at home what happened.
So the original, Jake Paul originally was supposed to fight Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury fumbled the bag, couldn't get over to America.
Tommy fumbles.
So Hasim Rahman Jr. steps in and says, hey, I'll take the fight. Actually, a lot of people said they'll take the fight because it's good money. But Jake Paul and Hasim Rahman Jr. came to an agreement with a fight at Madison Square Garden, August 6th on a Saturday. And they agreed to a certain weight because Hasim Rahman Jr. fought at 226 his last fight, which is heavyweight. Mm-hmm. Okay. Jake Paul fights at 195, and that is cruiserweight. So they had to come to a catch weight. Catch weights are not out of the norm. So all these people that want to jump on Jake Paul's ass about this stuff don't, because catch weights are normal in professional boxing. Mm-hmm. You agree to something, you hold to it. However, technically this isn't a catch weight because they originally agreed to 200 pounds, which is the cruiserweight limit. So 200 and under, which is where Jake Paul fights at cruiserweight. So Hasim Rahman Jr. agreed to make 200 pounds. Also, there was a rehydration clause to where he wasn't allowed to weigh more than 215 the night of the fight or the day of the fight. Okay? So, fast forward, last week, it was, I think Wednesday, is Rockman's camp was going back and forth with the New York State Athletic Commission, and they were monitoring and tracking his weight because I think there's something that's like a 10 to 15% of your body weight was what you're allowed to lose. They have some kind of thing they have up there because it's very true. A lot of guys that will suck down in weight end up having some major damage to their body.
Sure.
So it's cool. I'm cool with that. So the New York Athletic Commission showed a weight of Hasim Rahman Jr., and I believe it was like 215, 216 when he first took the fight 3 weeks ago. Fast forward, now I guess he weighed 215. Okay, and he's a week out. So the New York Athletic Commission said, based on the percentages of what you're allowed to lose on hydration and things like that, this fight needs to be at 205 or they won't approve it.
Sure.
So Jake Paul was like, oh my gosh, okay, can we do 205? And they said, yes, we'll do 205. So Jake Paul's camp, this is all true, these are all facts, Jake Paul's camp sends over a contract for 205. I believe they sent it to Rockman's camp, and then Rockman's camp comes back now and says, hey, we can't make 205. In fact, we're going to make 215, is what they said. So, here's the deal. You can't do that, okay? You agree to 200, you do it. They go up in weight, 5 pounds, 205, and they do it. And my opinion is coming from Hasim Rahman's own video, to where he claims the same thing, and now he's calling out, he's getting emotional with it and calling out Jake Paul, oh, you'll fight anybody, any weight, blah, blah, blah. Jake Paul did say that. 100% was like, I'll fight anybody, any weight. Weight doesn't matter. However, guys, weight does matter. When you sign a contract, you're getting paid $500,000. Weight does matter because that contract said the weight. It said 205. There's no mix-up there.
Yeah.
There's zero mix-up. There's no, you can get all the emotions that you want. There's no mix-up. In my opinion, there's no mix-up. Both camps, even Hasim Rahman Jr. in his own video, clearly states that, yes, 200 was a thing, the 205 came into play, and now he said he can't make less than 215. So, I'm taking my opinion based on just that. I think Hasim Rahman's in the wrong, period.
Yeah, I mean, because let's be honest, for those that have their own hot take online or have their opinion about this thing, who's at fault, if they're both at fault, keep in mind that there's a third party involved here, which is making the decisions, and they are the governing board of the New York State Athletic Commission. You can't do much without their approval, if anything, especially headline a Madison Square Garden boxing match. So if you don't have the approval, if you don't have the contractual terms with the New York State Athletic Commission,
they own you, dude.
It ain't happening.
They own you. You contract away to that. You want to fight in their state. They own you. Every commission governs everything.
So wrong or right, guilty or not, whoever it might be, it doesn't matter. If you don't have the field to play on, you ain't playing.
Yeah.
And that's the case. The New York State gave them the 205 leeway. From what we've gathered, MVP Promotions and that camp sent over then the new contract language for the 205, and that was balked at quite dramatically and quickly, which is why Jake Paul's camp then said, we're done.
Yep.
And we're now going to have to refund tickets, as well as any sort of pay-per-view buys, whatever else. I feel terrible for Amanda Serrano and all of her people and everyone else fighting on that card, which this was going to be huge exposure for all the fighters there, which I'll be honest with you, Weekend Trav, I don't know who else was fighting on the card because I told you from the start when he was fighting Tommy Fury, I'm not interested in this.
Yeah, you were not B-Money. You were open about that.
Then when this guy came a-calling, I said the only intriguing thing here is maybe the fact that he's probably a little bit better, and he's bigger.
He's a lot better than Tommy Fury.
And he's bigger. But other than that, I'm still not interested. So part of me, the conspiracy theorist Weekend Trial, has to say
Let's hear it.
Is that perhaps, and I don't like to give this guy a ton of credit all the time, but perhaps Dana White might be onto something, president of the UFC, saying, maybe ticket sales had something to do with this sucker too. Okay, maybe. But there's a lot that goes into it. But you cannot hide the fact that Hasim Rahman Jr. is a big boy and he wasn't losing weight. So no matter what, you might have this scapegoat or that scapegoat or this reason or that reason. I bet you there's multiple reasons, and all of a sudden this thing is now kaput.
Yep. So I want to give this little quick thing too, because I think it matters with a little bit of facts too. I posted on Facebook when this first happened. I posted on the Facebook. I also posted on our Weighing In with Travis Hartman Instagram page. Follow us there. We're breaking news. We're all over it. Within like 3 or 4 minutes, we had it posted as well.
We have no life.
We are right on the money.
Because we have our finger on the pulse at Weighing In with Travis Hartman. That's
Instagram.
all one word.
Follow us everywhere, guys. We're literally, our name You can search it on all media outlets, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. We're weighing in with Travis Hartman. We're there. However, I posted this, and somebody had commented on my Facebook status, and I replied to him. As a professional boxer, a veteran, guy had like 30, 40 pro fights. And here's what I said, and I'm going to read the whole thing because I'll tell you why. Somebody also commented on it and agreed 100% with it, and then I'll tell you who that is. So I said, he agreed to the fight at 200 pounds, talking about Hasim Rahman. According to the commission, he weighed 216 and only lost 1 pound in 3 weeks, Hasim Rahman. Paul and the promotion adjusted the weight to 205. They agreed. Then Rahman claims he isn't making less than 215. Unfortunately, I don't care who you are. Don't agree to something if you can't make it. It's unprofessional. Rahman didn't have to take the fight. This is unacceptable on Rahman's part, period. Jake honored his word, even adjusted the contract at the end. This is not professional, and Rahman is completely in the wrong. It's bad business, period. BJ Flores, Jake Paul's trainer, comments on my status and says 100% correct. So those are facts that I gave out. Okay, I'm not wrong on those facts. Those are facts that there's actually a paper trail of those facts.
Absolutely.
There can be other things in the background for sure, like the promotion. You could be not wrong for sure.
Yeah.
The sales could have been less than what they were wanting, whatever else. However, this was Rahman that pulled this out. This is Rahman that's making it look bad. In my opinion, I'm going to stand by this. Like, I just think that Hasim Rahman is in the wrong because he gave his word. We're loyalty dudes over here, B-Money. We tell people we're going to do something. We promote local boxing. We go there. What do we do? We put our money where our mouth is.
Yep.
Hasim Rahman, in my opinion, he did not put his money where his mouth was.
Yeah, it's listen, it's disrespectful. We say on this show a lot, Weekend Trav. We say something along to the effect of make it make sense. Hasim Rahman Jr., everything going on, us talking about your weight for the past few weeks now. Make this make sense to us, where you're somehow the victim. Please make it make sense.
Yep.
And honestly, if it's ticket sales and all this other crap going on as well, you still can't justify the fact that you lost 1 pound in 3 weeks.
Yep.
Weekend Trav, I take a shit and I lose 5 pounds.
Yeah, this guy claims that he was training really hard, and I don't know that if he was or wasn't. I know that his dad, former heavyweight champion of the world, 3 weeks ago was like, "Hey, I don't think my son has been training hard for any of his fights leading up to this."
Yeah.
But for you, and I know a lot of people are going to run with that and say even his own dad didn't believe in him. I actually disagree with that. I think his own dad does believe in him. I think what his own dad was doing was a little psychology and was trying to motivate his son to train a little harder to beat a Jake Paul.
Could be.
So I'm not the conspiracy on that one.
I watched
that. Could be true.
I watched that one. It was just kind of like a lazy attempt at that, though. Like, it was really like, man, you could at least have a little, like, his dad, when he made those comments, he's just kind of like talking like this about it, and like, it's, my son is just kind of lazy, and basically saying he's lazy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, you know what? He needs to get up off his butt and finally, this is the time now.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
weird
that.
Motivational speech.
It was. And so what did Hasim Rahman do instead? He went and ate some damn Taco Bell and didn't lose any weight. Actually, Weekend Trav, Taco Bell will make you lose the weight because you'll take that fat dookie.
Crap your pants.
Absolutely. Well, you don't have to do it in your pants.
Oh.
It could just be in the toilet. That doesn't happen to you, right?
I don't like Taco Bell.
I love Taco Bell. I just don't eat it
Maybe I don't
right
like
now.
Taco Bell because I crap my pants. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I've never crapped my pants.
But that being said, Hasim Rahman Jr. Jeez. Hasim Rahman Jr. Make it make sense. How can we not look at you and say, geez, you're the primary factor as to why this fight and the whole card went down in flames.
Yep.
Amanda Serrano, who she's fighting, everyone that's fighting on that card, they could point a finger at you saying, you jacked this up, just like Tommy Fury almost jacked this up for us. This other guy who we might not like necessarily the character and the way he's, marketed himself, whatever else. But you know what? He's helped us get paid along the way too. We're not complaining about that.
And like I said, at the end of the day, like it's not my personal opinion about Jake Paul.
Yeah.
I have my own opinions about the guy. But in this instance, you're doing yourself no favors, Hasim Rahman Jr. Because one, listen, like I said, Jake Paul is on recording. He was talking to the head of Matchroom Boxing, Eddie Hearn, in a video on DAZN. This was a while ago, a couple months ago, and he was like, "Hey, I'll fight anybody, anywhere on your roster."
All your guys.
And he goes, "All your guys." And he was like, "They're like, what weight?" He was like, "Any
of
weight."
them.
So listen, I get that. That's fine. He did say that. However, Hasim Rahman Jr., before you signed this contract, maybe you should have said that. Maybe you post that video. That's fair. Maybe you negotiate your way to a higher weight, possibly by posting that video. But it doesn't matter what you say now because his own video and his response to all of this, He admits that he was supposed to make 205. And he goes into a really emotional plea after that, like, well, Jake Paul said he'll fight anybody, any weight. 7 days before a boxing match, you pull this bull crap.
Yeah.
I know as a fighter that it's disheartening because that weight, it matters because Jake Paul, he's 195. He's following a strict diet plan as well.
Yeah.
This guy probably could be over 200. Who knows? He's cutting a little bit to make it as well. Who knows? So you respect the other fighters, but you made a good point earlier too, though. He's screwing the undercard fighters on this card. Those are the ones that really can't afford to miss fights.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are fighting for their living, fighting to make money, fighting to pay their rent, fighting to pay their mortgage. All of that. Also, let's not forget the promotion. They're losing millions in this. You know how many commercials? Do you know how many they had big billboards up everywhere? They lost money.
You can't tell me, Weekend Trav, that the the powers that be in Showtime are gonna want Rahman Jr. on a card ever again.
And
It's done.
I find it very, very hard to not to like go after these guys after you cost them money and you promise to do something. Where is holding your end up the contract? Where's that at? Where's the morals? Where's the character of that?
It just leaves everyone. It's a bad taste in your mouth, especially when you try to vilify the other guy as to like, oh, well, you're saying you'll fight anybody and blah blah blah. You're trying to vilify him, but he's followed the contract. It doesn't matter if his
100%.
It doesn't matter if his promotion company wrote the contract up.
Yeah, which they did. They did. Clearly, he was the A side, so they did. 100%.
But you signed your name.
Yep.
Weekend Trav, if we sign any contract to do business with somebody or whatever else, if all of a sudden we don't follow the terms and we go to them and be like, sorry, yo, I just didn't feel like doing that on my side, but you know what? You need to meet me. And they'd be like, what? Screw you.
That's not how you negotiate.
What's happening in the real world? It'll take you to court. So in this case, the fight's just off. And we, the fans, which I'm not saying this was going to be a big fan favorite fight or anything like this, but now we're still talking about this crap. Now we're still talking about the hasn't fought the pro boxer stuff and all this other garbage. And this time, it's not to any fault of Jake Paul.
Yeah, it really is not.
Who cares if the ticket sales may have been weak and this? It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter because Weekend Trav, you and I go to local shows and other shows, and we see these people busting their butts to get to that spot. Yeah. These guys are, starting out maybe 1-2-0, 8-0, 9-0, 10-0, starting to get their records up there. You know what? They're fighting and clawing, and everyone's doing their best to make their weight on all sides of that contract. And you know what? It's just in poor taste. It gives everyone, especially loose boxing fans, if not just sports fans, they look at boxing and they laugh at it now.
Yeah. And you know what? And Jake Paul made a comment. I don't like it because he was calling out boxers. He's like, oh, these boxers are not honoring their word. He's right. Tommy Fury didn't. Hasim Rahman Jr. didn't. But in his, not defense, but UFC fighters, when they came over to fight Jake Paul, there was the same deal. Ben Askren had the same deal, made $500,000. Not a piece of the pay-per-view sales, period. Tyron Woodley, same thing. Fought him twice, $500,000. So I don't think Hasim Rahman has a foot to stand on right now.
No.
Because if you would have said this 3 weeks ago when you signed the contract, oh, this is bullcrap, you're trying to drain me of my weight. You knew this 3 weeks ago.
Exactly.
That's the problem with me.
Bring the issue up before signing your name on a piece of paper.
That is a lack of maturity. That is immature. And also, I've been talking back and forth with another pro boxer, Adrian Pinheiro, cruiserweight, who happily would have took this fight for sure. But obviously they canceled it, so it wasn't a big problem. But he's agreeing. He's just like, listen, you promise to do something, you do it. That's what boxers do. There's promoters all over the world that seeing this and hearing this, and I promise you, promoters already have a hard time getting guys to honor stuff. So when you have a history now, do you know how many pro boxing promoters are going to look at Hasim Rahman Jr. and go, maybe the risk doesn't outweigh the reward because he doesn't sell.
Because now, unless something miraculous happens in his career down the road, this is now what he'll be known for.
He's coming off of a loss
forever.
Too. He's coming off of a loss.
I know. But now, when you look back, if this is just an asterisk or if this is just a little, oh, by the way, on a trivia card somewhere, this is what his career is going to be known for. My goodness gracious. Weekend Trav. We could spend a lot of time on this, but it's really annoying. By the time you guys have seen this episode 91 drop, because we drop on Wednesday, maybe this is, once again, old hat, old news. Maybe it's still fresh and the fire's still going. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows what's going on when it comes to this MVP promotions and Jake Paul at that point. But either way, that's our take on it. Weekend Trav, I want to pivot here get away from this, get away from the negative vibes.
Even though the 24-hour news cycle is so popular right now, I still believe that my stance and opinion on all of this will hold weight today, tomorrow, and the next day. Because you say something, you honor it. No matter what else comes out of this,
Sure.
In my opinion, let's say ticket sales are low. Let's say Dana White was correct. Let's say all that doesn't matter because Rockman pulled out. Ticket sales or not, doesn't matter. So I love the pivot because I think we should pivot to the guys who are busting their asses and trying to get to that level of Madison Square Garden.
Let's do that. Let's get the negative vibes out of the way, and let's get to some stuff coming up locally here in Orlando and Central Florida. There's a couple shows here in August that we have circled on our calendar. First and foremost, August 13th, which I believe is a Saturday. They're going on at the Plaza Live in Orlando. Undisputed Promotions is bringing Bragging Rights. The event's name is Bragging Rights. I'm sure that's been used about a million times. Undisputed Promotions brings Bragging Rights to the Plaza Live in Orlando, Florida. A friend of ours, Corey Marksman, will be taking on Angel Albello.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Angel?
His first name
Angel with
looks
an
like
E.
Angel, but I'm not sure.
Angel with an E at the end. Angel-y? Angel-y. I don't want to make fun of names too much, but I think it's Angel Albello. Albello? Okay.
Yep,
But Corey Marksman, okay?
Yep. 4-0.
4-0. Coming off a nice victory there at the Crib Royale a couple months ago, and so looking to extend his record here on the 13th. So looking forward to that show, local show. If you're looking for tickets and things like that, we can travel. I'd imagine we just want to shoot over to Corey Marksman's accounts.
CoreyMarksman.com. Also, Corey Marksman is on Instagram. Follow this kid. If you want tickets, message these guys. Buy the tickets from the fighters. When they're coming up early in their career, they get more of a percentage from when you buy them directly from them.
What is his handle there on Instagram? If you have it,
I believe it's Corey Marksman, and that's Corey. It's CoreyMark. That is it. It's actually. I take that back. If you do Corey Marksman, it'll show up, but it's real Corey Marksman. And that's RealCoreyMarksman. Corey Marksman. Look him up on Instagram. Check him out. We're going.
Yeah. So
we're going to try to go as well.
So August 13th at the Plaza Live in Orlando. If you're looking for tickets, hit him up and see what we got going on there. That should be a pretty fun and entertaining show if you're not used to going to local shows. Man, this is where you do it. This is where you catch these guys and gals before they really, really become who they're meant to be, and that's awesome. I'm more than happy to support that. I know you are as well. But We Can Trav also have another local show on a Sunday, actually, August 21st. We're still waiting for some details on this one a little more specifically, but at the Crib Royale again. I believe it's a Box Lab Promotions. I don't have a lot of information on the card other than the fact that probably Giovanni Estella is fighting.
Yes, he is scheduled to fight.
I would think Adrian Pinheiro is also fighting on that one.
Too.
So those guys coming off of very nice victories there, also at the Crib Royale from July. Those guys coming off of TKO victories. So that is a Box Lab Promotions there at the Crib Royale. Don't have a lot of other details other than the fact it's August 21st.
So it's pretty cool. We're talking about the 24-hour news cycle. I just got a message from the promoter letting me know that, yes, it is on Bally Sports TV, but I also have a 25-second audio that, should I listen to it to see if there's more details in that?
Maybe, but maybe not against the mic.
Well, I'm not going to do it on the mic, but I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah, go ahead and listen. So I'll keep talking.
So from the promoter themselves, they're letting me know that, yes, it's on Bally Sports, and yes, it's August 21st still.
So there you go. So We Can Trev's going to listen to that. So those are the details on these two shows here locally in Orlando. August 13th, the Plaza Live Orlando. Undisputed Promotions brings Bragging Rights, and then also August 21st at the Crib Royale show with Bally Sports as well as Box Lab Promotions. A couple local guys will be on that. So a lot of fun. We went to the last show probably a weekend ago, I should say, about a week ago. Had a great time. We had a table up front, and I saw all these local kids in action doing their thing. Was the best part, and I mentioned this on last week's episode, is the fact that when you're there, you also get the energy of the other local guys that aren't fighting on the card. They're there in the stands. They're supporting or they're talking trash, and it's just kind of a cool vibe. It's an exciting environment. So I recommend going to these shows if you haven't had a chance to take a look. Reach out to Corey Marksman on the August 13th for those shows for tickets, and then August 21st, We Can Trav. Maybe you have a little more tidbit and detail on that.
Yeah, they're waiting for it. It's confirmed. It's on Bally Sports. It's confirmed. All they're doing is they're waiting on the promotion and for the to release some official videos of the main event fighter. They're saying Kenneth Sims is supposed to be the main event for TV, and they're waiting on some interviews with him, and they're going to post that on their social media, which is Bally Sports Live, also Box Lab Promotions. That's going to be August 21st. Giovanni Estelo's fighting on that card. Adrian Pinero's fighting on that card. So, like we just said earlier, message those guys. Look them up on Instagram. They're there. Giovanni Estella, also Adrian Pinero. They'll take care of you guys. I think Impact Boxing Fitness as well will take care of you for Giovanni Estella as well.
Believe so. Just take a look at our prior interviews with those guys.
In this corner, our little segment.
Yep. So you'll have, I put their handles on the info there. So if you're on Instagram, it's probably the best way to slide into their DMs.
Yes.
And slide into their DMs, get some tickets. So anyways, those are the 2 shows coming up. Weekend Trav. I know we have some stuff coming up this weekend. I would be remiss, though, if I didn't run down real quickly as a brief congratulations to our friend Chris Billum-Smith out there across the pond in England, taking care of business against Isaac Chamberlain, getting the decision victory over there on Sky Sports in his hometown, of all things. Walking away still with his titles, deserves it. This guy is now, he's got to be in the conversation to look towards one of those cruiserweight belts.
Yep.
You would think so. I mean, at this point.
I stand with a prediction. I think in 2023, CBS is his nickname, Chris Billum-Smith.
The gentleman.
I think he fights for a world title in 2023.
Yeah.
That's my prediction for
Guy's
sure.
sharp, solid boxer.
Hard worker, just like a blue-collar type of guy.
Love
like
it.
such a quiet, nice guy, too. Like, we love him. And you can check out in this
Very
segment
humble.
of In This Corner as well. He's on there, too. We did a little a one-on-one with him, too. I love it. The guy's a good dude.
Yeah, so go find him on Instagram at Chris Billum, Billam. Chris is spelled as normal, one word. So go find him there. But good dude, congratulations on your victory there. Well earned, well deserved. Look forward to seeing hopefully your next fight be for one of the major titles. That would be fantastic for you at the cruiserweight level. Weekend Trav this weekend.
Last weekend as well, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about, because we previewed it a little bit, was Danny Garcia.
Oh, yeah.
Danny Garcia fought. He won a unanimous decision over Jose Benavidez Jr. I just want to bring it up briefly is that he did win. Awesome. He moved up in weight to 154. Probably saw one of the worst scorecards that I've ever seen in my entire life in pro boxing. And that's the only reason I wanted to bring it up is because it was horrific. I scored the fight 11 rounds to 1 for Danny Garcia, right? A judge, and I don't want to be sexist here or not, but it was a woman judge. She scored the fight a draw. It was the easiest fight in the world to judge.
It was completely lopsided.
It was so lopsided it wasn't
see
even
that.
funny. She scored it 114. The other scorecards actually made me upset too, because I think one of them was like 115, 113. But I scored it 11 rounds to 1, maybe 10 rounds to 2. I just want to bring that up briefly is just because it's insane that these judges get away with this crap. That was a highway robbery.
Yeah.
The right guy won, thank God.
Yeah.
And also Gary Antoine Russell was on the undercard as well. He's a lightweight, super lightweight, 16-0, 16 knockouts. Got a knockout over Francis Bartholomew. Also, one of the most worst decisions I've ever seen, too. Not even questionable. Not the fighter's fault. Not Gary Antoine Russell's. Not Francis Bartholomew's fault at all. But the referee was horrific. I made a poll on weighing in with Travis Hartman, and I think we got 33 votes to 11. That it was the worst decision they've ever seen. And I don't know who those 11 people were, but it was terrible.
Yeah.
So, briefly, on the bigger scene on Showtime, that was also a Showtime card, Danny Garcia at Barclays Center dominated this guy.
Yeah.
And I actually thought Jose Benavidez had a chance to win this because he's very, very decorated. This kid can fight.
You almost enticed me
I know.
take the bet, and I did not. Danny Garcia, I was
Good job.
texting Weekend Trav over the day like, hey, man, he's like a wild favorite. It was like minus 800 or a minus 600 or something crazy like that. Like, I thought this was supposed to be a little closer of a fight.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it wasn't. If you were watching the fight, it was not close. But if you were a judge, maybe you took a nap halfway through and just kind of guessed on the scores.
The only thing was, it was just that Jose Benavidez Jr.
He
didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything.
He took everything. He was never in trouble. His face was perfectly good after the end of the fight. But and you have no offense, how do you expect to win?
Listen, there's a lot to be said about trying to lose weight to make a fight. Gaining weight is equally, if not to me, harder to be a justifiable concern at a higher weight class. To put weight on
It's tough.
and be a tough opponent. Props to Danny Garcia for doing this. Overwhelming favorite, overwhelmingly won the fight. The judges saw something different, but either way, he still got the victory. So just kind of a questionable night. So Weekend Trav, I'm glad I didn't bet on that. I'm glad the WNBA didn't have any games because I couldn't lose any money on that. I did put some money on our boy Chris Billum-Smith, so I won a little money on him. So
Thanks
there you
a lot,
go.
CBS,
you won me a little bit of U.S. dollar over here, so thank you very much. So that was this past weekend. But Weekend Trav, let's talk about this real briefly. This coming weekend, we got a pretty exciting bout coming up.
We do. We have an up-and-coming dude. He's not just up-and-coming, obviously. This kid's there. He's 18-0 with 18 knockouts. Virgil Ortiz Jr. is a welterweight.
Yeah.
He doesn't really, in my opinion, get enough play with the media, so we're going to give it to him for sure. He's fighting on DAZN against Michael McKinson, who is undefeated, I think like 22-0. So big fight. But Virgil Ortiz is 18-0 with 18 knockouts. He knocked out a former world champion, Murray Tooker, as well, back in 2021. So this kid's not just knocking out jokers, okay? This isn't like a Berlanga, who Berlanga had so many wins, so many knockouts, and knocked out everybody, right?
The jury's still out on him.
Virgil Ortiz is legit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay? This is, again, I'm doing factual opinion here.
In a tough weight class, too. Mind you.
Welterweight is extremely tough right now. I mean,
very loaded.
You got everybody there. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., all those guys. So very loaded. But this kid can fight, okay? Virgil Ortiz Jr., look out for him. I think that he's on the verge of fighting for a world title. DAZN and Golden Boy Promotions, which is Oscar De La Hoya, they're bringing him along properly. They know how to bring along future world champions. This kid's super young, too. He's in his early 20s, I believe. So he's super young, doesn't have to really vie for a world title. And honestly, if they're smart, you need to wait out Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. But to be fair, I think Virgil Ortiz, I'm not saying he beats him, not even close, but I'm saying that he puts up a fight if he fights them.
But with the record,
it's a good fight.
With the record of 18-0,
18
it's
KOs,
getting very close.
It's getting very close to be talked about.
Yeah.
So that's this weekend on DAZN. That fight definitely deserves its props. But on the major scene, past that, we have August 13th on ESPN Teofimo Lopez.
That's true.
And he's moving up in weight as well as super lightweight, which is 140. But
once again, overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, and but against Pedro Campa, he's supposed to win that fight big. But honestly, Virgil Ortiz is a big fight. Watch it. DAZN, if you have DAZN, definitely tune in. It's worth it. But that's the major boxing scene
these are
right
guys,
now.
Listen, we pay attention to these up-and-coming guys, and because this is the future. Okay, we could talk about the current guys and we do that. We talk about the current fighters.
Local, current, big scene, everything.
But listen, when you hear a name like that, when you hear a name like Chris Billum-Smith, when you hear some of the guys locally for us that are up-and-coming, pay attention to these names.
We talked about those guys.
Pay attention to these names because if you were a boxing fan, you're going to enjoy what you see when you watch them and their product. So Weekend Trav, final pivot for me.
Let's get it.
We're going to get away from the boxing segment. We're not really going to talk about beards other than the fact we both have one. And they're both looking
pretty good.
I would say they look, at least mine looks delicious.
Delicious and nutritious.
Yeah, ooh, I like that. But let's go to the bourbon side of things. Though it looks like a straight whiskey, but I think it's a blend.
It's a blended bourbon, yes.
Yeah, so this is from old W.M. Tarr's distillery, I believe. Yeah, W.M. Tarr, William Tarr Distillery.
Manchester Reserve.
In Kentucky. This is the Manchester Reserve. I don't know if you can see this at home. Autographed there by
Cash Daniel and Mark Stoop,
That's
who is
right.
the head coach of the University of Kentucky football team and a former player who is major. I mean, this guy's an All-American, I believe. So this guy is a good football player as well.
Well, fun fact, Mark Stoops used to be defensive coordinator for Florida State. I'm a Florida State Seminole fan, even though we've run on some hard years here. But he was around
You
town.
lost Mark Stoops.
Well, we lost him, but then Jimbo Fisher pulled a. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that today. Though Weekend Trav. Side note, very excited. Football is back.
It's around the corner.
The Hall of Fame game, Weekend Trav. Hall of Fame game, I believe, is this coming weekend. Preseason, first preseason game. Anyways,
right, it's August, dude. Today's August 1st.
Wild. Training camps are going. B Money is a big football guy. He's a big NFL guy. Huge. I love boxing too, but I'm a huge football guy. Anyways, excited.
We like combat sports. That's
very
a combat.
Excited.
You know what I mean?
Anyways, getting back to this. So we have, signed by both these guys. Sorry, I saw there's the other signature up here. Signature there. This is the Manchester Reserve. 7 years aged out of Kentucky, the William Tarr Distillery. We drank a little bit of it. See, you could tell on the bottle. We haven't had a ton. Weekend Trip. I like it. It was a little hot. Like, we initially smelled it. We popped the cork and we're like,
This
smells
different than the rest we've smelled.
Have some sweeter notes to it. Smells good.
And we've done 90 episodes.
We've had a lot.
I bet we've done at least 50 plus bourbon / whiskeys.
Yeah. Poured it, smelled it again, and we're like, whew.
Smells hot.
This might singe the nostrils a little bit. And
stings the nostrils.
Yeah, so
I'm having some more.
I will have more too, but in order to make sure that I don't have diarrhea of the mouth, I'll wait till we're done. This
Clearly,
to me,
I don't mind.
Yeah. Well, you pooped your pants from Taco Bell. So.
I've never pooped my pants from Taco Bell, people.
Okay. Anyway, so no diarrhea of the mouth. It's very good. It's just there is some heat on it. So if you like that sort of thing, if you like your bourbons or whiskeys in this case, to have a little heat on it, then this is a very delectable brand.
Oh, look at you. Like, I got lightheaded at that word. It was such a big word. You confused me for a second.
I'm sorry. I'm very confusing. Ask my spouse. So price point, though, a little elevated. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. So price point.
Big time today.
I don't know where you can find this necessarily because this was a gift. Okay.
From Kentucky. This is
from
a straight Kentucky bourbon.
This was this price point, I think, online, if you look for it, it's about in the mid-70s range, 70 to 80, something like that. But this Manchester Reserve, the old WM Tarr, Kentucky Straight Whiskey, which is a bourbon and rye blend. Week and Trav, give me the rundown of how we accumulated this bottle.
So we have a friend of the show, Dr. Bewley, who is a UK graduate and also a friend of the family.
Wildcats.
Dr. Bewley, husband and the wife, Dr. Bewley, both doctors. They're awesome. I love them. Ruth and Mike Bewley, I love you guys. I appreciate the gift. This is awesome. And I want all of our listeners to start taking notes, okay? We got a gift from friends and family of the show. They listen to the show too. They love the show as well. And we finally got our first gift from
They not only love you, they love our rapist wit.
Yes. Actually, I should take that back because Hagen O'Reilly's and Louis Ortiz.
Very true.
Louis Salazar
very
and
true.
Frankie Liz. They
showed us some big love.
They showed us a lot of love too. So I take that back. But this is a friend of the family, and they're not in this business. Frankie and them are in this business of bourbon and things like that.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to give a huge thank you to you guys. I like it. So are we gonna rate it?
Let's go to rate it. 0 to 10 boxing gloves. We can try this. Is what we do for the folks at home listening to us. This is the bourbon segment. We will rank things that are new to us and give us a score. 0 to 10 boxing gloves, because this is a boxing podcast. See the boxing gloves in the background if you're watching at home. So we can Trav, give me your rating 0 to 10 and why you chose that.
Let me ask you real fast. Do you get a vanilla scent at all to that or a taste at all? Just now, I feel like I got a little bit of a hint of one.
Maybe slightly, or you put the seed in my head to look for it.
Yeah, so now it's
okay.
there.
So now it's there.
So I was putting it there. So listen, everybody listen to our show. Also, what's our highest rating of it? It's not much over 7.
I think we've had an 8, a low 8. A low 8.
I think that I'm gonna go. I'm gonna bet right now because I love to make predictions. I'm going to bet that my rating's going to be higher than yours. But I think I'm going to go with 7.6.
Okay.
I like it. The price point was high, but honestly, it's pretty smooth. I've been drinking a lot more than B Money has right now. But B Money is smart because he's the producer, also runs the show quite a bit. So he's trying to stay very level-headed, and I appreciate that. I think I'm still level-headed. But I'm giving it a 7.6. Okay. I like it. I think it's pretty smooth. Honestly, I don't like it when it's hot. Like the spiciness to it. I do like spicy stuff, but I don't like my bourbon to be spicy. I don't think after a while it's spicy though. No. I think that very first, if you drink it neat, I drank it neat to test it out first. It was hot. Yeah. Okay. Then we had the circular cylinder ice cube.
Yeah.
Let it melt into there, and right now
it opened it up. Yeah.
It opened it up, and I think it's pretty smooth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. I enjoy it. So my 7.6 is pretty high.
On top of that, if you've had a good amount of it, then he's also feeling.
Yeah, usually when I'm feeling good in the conversation,
a little good.
I get a little higher.
He's chewing on that cigar. Got a lot of vices going on here. So we can Trav. Usually you do
bourbon
rank
and
some of these.
Cigar go together.
That's true. Usually you rank some of these things higher than me. I get it, and this is going to be kind of high for me because I do enjoy it. And I think the fact that it was also given as out of love helps, and it's signed. It does. And there's some Florida. There's a little Florida State connection too, even though he was only here temporarily.
It's very emotional. For you.
So I am giving this a 7.4. Also for the easy. Ease of the math.
That's high.
Averaging 7.5. Very solid score from us.
That's a great score, actually.
Okay,
yeah.
so this is a straight whiskey. blended, though, of rye and bourbon, so it's
Yep.
not a pure bourbon, so keep that in mind for those at home. Purists, we are not a purist. Obviously, if you listen to us long enough, you know we sometimes ramble and shoot from the hip on these things, but we do enjoy it. We like it. We still have some other things that we need to randomly drink down. This one, though, very solid. So we recommend it. They're at home. The Old WM Tarr Distillery, the Straight Whiskey, Manchester Reserve.
It says it's a 7-year bourbon to blend with our very best behaved 8-year rye, dialing in complex notes from both juices into a one-spirited bottle of amber liquor. Amber liquor. That's
Juices.
B Money's significant other.
Yeah, juices. So, Weekend Trav, I like it. You like it. 7.5 on the rating. 7.5.
Thanks, Dr. Bewley
Boxing
and
gloves.
family.
So, Weekend Trav, we're going to go and wrap this thing up. I mentioned maybe off air that we were going to unbow it. Now we're going to put the bow on this thing. Episode 91 of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. We appreciate your time for listening to us, folks. If you have yet to subscribe to our content, please do so below on YouTube or Rumble, or if you're following our audio source over there on iHeartRadio or Spotify or iTunes or wherever else you can find out. Google Podcasts, it's all over the place. But we do appreciate the support from not only you and our subscriber base, but also IF Enterprises, TH Boxing, and Gulfstream Financial. Thank you so much for your media support as well, your media partnership. So if you have yet to subscribe at home, please do so, because this guy over here, who's busy with the snaps and the Insta snaps and
Instagram.
the my face and all that stuff. He's busy doing that, but he will show up one day at your house if you don't subscribe below. And we have the inside track. We know the stats. If you do not, he's going to show up to your house one day and go like this. Someone's going to answer and be like, "Hey, who's this?" And be like, "Hey, I'm Weekend Trav. Have you subscribed to our podcast, Weighing In with Travis Hartman?" And then someone will be like, "No."
Lights out.
Lights out.
Lights out, people.
Lights out. Lights out. And with that, we're going to turn all these lights out too from episode 91 of this podcast of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. No final thoughts, but I will say this as the final thought. That over there is Weekend Trav.
That there is B Money, a.k.a. producer.
God bless.